Director, Touch Let's Go Travel and Tourism Agency, and a proudly SA member. We have Tobeka Toby Rose Mtembu from Travel and Lifestyle, who's a travel and lifestyle blogger, rather. And last but not least, we have Lawrence Wall, International Hotel Group Manager, Profit Room. Just to quickly remind our guests this morning that this discussion is for you. It's not meant to have, we're not meant to have a dialogue amongst ourselves, representing different brands and companies and entities. We ask that you be part of the conversation by way of sending us comments, questions, asking for clarity, on our chat box, which I'll be keeping an eye on. And I also have the PR team on standby to do just that, to help us navigate through the questions and comments and ensure that we give as many people as we possibly can, time permitting, an equal opportunity to contribute to this discussion. So without further ado, I would like to now welcome on to, I'm tempted to say stage. It just shows you how much I personally miss physical events. I think we must go back to physical events, but so to welcome Mr. Eustace Mashimbe, who is the CEO of Proudly South African, just to give us a brief context into how we, as Proudly South African, fit into this whole hospitality and local travel jigsaw puzzle, so to speak. Don't even get me started about the fact that it's been 2 years or even 3 of the worst time of our lives where we couldn't move. And now that, the economy has opened up again, it's for me, it's really an exciting topic to have. Eustace, you are here? Welcome. Thank you so much. Looking forward to hearing from you. Please go ahead.
Okay, thank you very much, Happy. Good morning. Firstly, to the program director, to the fellow panelists, friends of Proudly South African, as mentioned by Happy. We appreciate you taking the time to join us this morning as we try and navigate this space, around travel and what it means, for the economy. So, as introduced, my name is Eustace and I'm from Proudly South African, and we're a buy local campaign. And what we seek to do is to educate South Africans on the importance of buying local. And I have a quote from the president where he, when he spoke, at the State of the Nation address, he said, "We call on every South African to contribute to our recovery effort by choosing to buy locally made goods and support local businesses. This is one way that each and every one of us can contribute to rebuilding and getting us into the new mode of a new economy. Locally made goods are not only lekker, they're also about creating jobs in our country." And basically, that's what Proudly South African is about. And we are built on the back of the fact that the country battles 3 main challenges, and the main one being unemployment. Just some numbers that most of us are aware of, including those of you who are delegates and have, gracefully joined us this morning. The unemployment rate in South Africa is quite high at 33.9%. In fact, since the introduction of the quarterly labor force survey, these numbers remain, the highest it's been, over the last 2 years or so. And you have about 8 million people who remain unemployed in this country. And if you add to that those who are discouraged and have stopped looking, there's another 3.6 million. And this is in a country with about, some say 60, some say 59 million people. And those who bear the brunt of this unemployment are mostly the youth and women. And these are people who are absorbed or can be absorbed by an industry, such as this tourism industry that we are showcasing today. Some of the benefits of buying local, and by buying local, we talk products and services, because in this industry, you have a lot of service offerings. And so the benefits of having, all of us support that which is locally made, is that those entities that are able to provide those services or those products, as we continue to buy from them, they will then be in a position to can retain jobs. I'm going to utilize Southern Sun as an example. If you continue to visit the examples, Kendi, I hope you're okay, because you're a member of Proudly South African. you're top of mind right now. And so if people continue to visit those establishments, you're able to retain the jobs that you'll have created across all your value chains. And as more and more of us visit those establishments and you're able to open up new establishments, open up even those ones that you had put on hold during COVID, you're able to then again create much needed new job opportunities. And those young people and women who are the ones bearing the brunt of unemployment, as they are absorbed into those jobs, they have an opportunity to acquire skills. And they can then utilize those skills to then further develop themselves and go and start businesses and improve their own living standards. And basically localization contributes to the development of the economy as well as increasing the GDP. So who are we? Before we start talking travel, let's talk Pali South African. We are a buy local campaign, and we seek to ensure that those who buy in the public sector, those who buy in the private sector, us as ordinary consumers, when we make purchasing decisions, we choose locally made products. And as Pali South African, we then have to, over and above educating all of these sectors about the economic impact of choosing locally made products and services, that we promote accessibility thereof, that those who want to support our cause know where to find these products and services. So every time you come across an establishment or a product that carries the Pali South African logo, you know that they embody these 4 key values. The first one being that they have sufficient local content. And by local content, we mean that if it's a product, that the raw materials utilized to produce that product are sourced within the borders of South Africa. And in instances where they are rendering services, those services are rendered as best as possible, utilizing equipment, machinery, furniture, and all other consumables that they require, that are sourced within the borders of South Africa. So if you think of the contribution that an industry like this can really make to the growth of the economy, especially to labor-intensive sectors, is quite enormous. If you go and open up, a lodge or a B&B, and you buy your beds in South Africa, and you buy, your appliances and your cutlery and your crockery and your linen and everything else that you require, which is available in South Africa, and you buy it locally, you are contributing to the creation of jobs in those industries. And those people can then in turn be the ones that can then, afford your services. I mean, travel is, an essential thing for all of us, but it's quite expensive. And it's not, it has moved down the value chain. If you consider, the Maslow's hierarchy of needs, it's not high up. It's not a necessity like food and some of the basics. And so for people to be able to afford that, they need to be employed. An unemployed person can be told to travel. And so we all need to play our part. Those of us who can afford to travel, we need to travel because members of Pali South African who are in this industry are playing their part by ensuring that which they require for their businesses is sourced locally, thereby contributing to the creation of jobs, especially in labor-intensive industries like the furniture industry, the clothing and textile industry, and even industries like the automotive industry, when they buy their vehicles for their shuttles, etc., for their car rental businesses locally. And so that's the first value or criteria that is important for those who want to affiliate with Pali South African. The second one is that we give you an assurance that when you engage with a Pali South African entity, if you visit the Pali South African establishment, the minute you see that logo, that tick tells you that it's a high quality product, and you can trust that the service you are going to receive there is going to be of a high quality nature, and that that establishment will satisfy the need for which you are acquiring it, and the product itself will be according to the standard set out for products in that specific industry. The last two are softer issues. Members or companies that affiliate with us help us, preserve the environment because they implement sound environmental practices. They recycle and reuse and dispose of waste responsibly. They also treat their workers fairly and in compliance with the labor legislation of the country. So we have a strong focus on the public sector and the private sector. But for today's session, and in the interest of time, I'm just going to focus on what we do for consumers. We educate consumers through mall activations, through university activations, at festivals, high traffic festivals where we are able to reach a large number of people. We do consumer advertising. We go to consumer expos, we do online competitions. We work with the unions as part of our labor mobilization drive. We work with all federations and all unions such that they can then be the ones that go back to their own employers and they talk to them about the importance of buying their consumables and raw materials and components locally, such that they contribute to the creation of jobs. Because ultimately, the private sector, in the same way that I unpacked to the tourism industry, the private sector at large has a responsibility to ensure that we can create jobs, because people will not be able to afford that which they're offering to us as consumers if most of us remain unemployed. We also utilize sporting events and sporting bodies to help drive the private healthcare message. Over and above rolling out generic messages, we roll out sector-specific consumer education campaigns. The clothing and textile, footwear, and leather industry is one that has a master plan, and we support that quite a lot, especially because it's labor-intensive and it's able to absorb many people into those jobs. We roll out campaigns for the poultry industry, and both these industries are industries that can benefit from increased travel, and that's why I chose these two today, because if you consider how much is bought by way of linen and clothing, uniforms, aprons, PPE, all of that is part of the CTFL industry, which is the clothing, textile, footwear, and leather industry. And so as we travel and these establishments continue to do well, and as they buy from these industries, it contributes to the growth of those industries. Same as the poultry industry. We're saying to establishments that we work with that you must buy your chicken locally. Don't buy the chicken that comes from outside, because you are basically creating jobs in those economies. When it comes to the hospitality sector, which is what we're talking to today, we even partnered in a campaign known as One Meal, Many Things. And the reason why they say one meal, many things is because they're saying in each individual meal, there are many other workers who come from different industries who benefit. So if you think of a meal that has a vegetable, that has a meat product, that has meal or rice or whatever it is, all of those come from different industries. So basically with this campaign, we're saying, as you visit your local restaurant or eatery and you buy a meal that is made of products that are sourced in South Africa, we are supporting jobs in all of those industries. You will have supported jobs in the agro-processing industry and a lot of its subsectors. And hence, the saying one meal, many things. So spend your money wisely during this festive season and try visit those establishments that will help us grow the economy. For the festive season broadly, as Palisaf can, we run competitions, etc. We then culminate the festive season campaign into a back to school campaign, because during that time of the year, we source a lot for our kids as they go back to school. So we encourage South Africans to buy locally made products. I want to quickly play a video that seeks to demonstrate how we support an industry like the clothing, textile, footwear, and leather industry. And then I will then go into the last video and then talk about this industry. So just to demonstrate what we do as Palisaf can over the festive season to support other industries and to get consumers to know where to find these locally made products and what to look out for and what to buy.
Living lekker locally. We're local. It is a choice.
And equally
Buy
we
local
say
to create jobs.
and equally we say we're local, but we say travel local, eat local, drink local. And the intention behind showing that campaign was to demonstrate how we support different industries, and the fact that in this perception that we don't have high quality locally made products is not true. There is enough out there for you to look out for and really buy as you endeavor to fill your wardrobe with items that you require for your travels. We roll out a generic campaign over and above sector-specific campaigns, and the generic campaign is known as Game Time. We have TV commercial partners, we roll it out on digital platforms, and it basically gives you a sense of the kind of messages that we put out there. Just want to wrap this up, this part of talking about Policy African before I go into, talking about the travel industry and, in order to set the tone for the panel discussion. So let me play the ad and then we can conclude.
The second half is about to begin. We need to change the scoreboard. It's time for all of us to pause and rethink the game plan in order to save the future. I call on all of us to be game changers because greatness isn't reserved only for some people. By buying local, we're choosing to create jobs and sustain the ones we have. Time and time again, South Africans have taken destiny into their own hands, creating products that the rest of the world wanted to buy. See, the world remembers about us what we sometimes forget, but it's time for change. Let's all buy local. It's game time. Mzansi.
Local is lekker.
Your everyday decisions shape our future.
And indeed, your everyday decisions shape our future. If you choose to travel locally, you are helping us create much needed job opportunities and contribute to the growth of the economy so that we have a good economy to hand down to the next generation. So some numbers as we focus on travel, then this is just to help set the tone for the panel discussion that is about to take place, as soon as I conclude, is that the tourism industry generates about 740,000 direct jobs and 1.5 million jobs indirect. And those are the industries that I spoke about. So it's part of that multiplier effect that are touched on as travel and tourism and hospitality, based businesses continue to do well. There are other industries that are part of their value chains that will also benefit. In fact, the World Travel and Tourism Council has revealed that South African travel and tourism GDP will be important in driving the economic recovery of the South African economy over the next decade. And that we expect the sector to create an additional 800,000 jobs over the next decade, such that we increase the number of direct jobs to 1.9 million jobs. These are just some numbers, of indicating the contribution of this travel and tourism industry to the GDP. You can see that it continues to drop, from a high of about 8.11 during like the 2013-2014 period, which came from a high of about 8.48 in 2005. We are now sitting at a low of about 3.7%. So the contribution of this industry to the economy has dropped, which needs us, domestic travelers, to also play our part, both for leisure and business travel. So the impact of the travel industry is that, it is forecasted to grow at an average of 7.6% over the next decade. And if you compare that with the 1.8% that is projected for the overall economy, it's quite good. So the potential in this industry is quite good. And that's why it's one that we as Policy African have chosen to cast a spotlight on. The contribution by 2032 of this industry to the GDP could reach as high as 554 billion rands, which will be 7.4% of the total economy. And it will inject about 287 billion into the national economy. And what that means is that then we have a bigger pool of people who are employed, who run businesses, who can contribute to the tax base of the country, thereby allowing government to have enough for it to render services such as health, education, safety and security, transport, and some of those essentials. So it's quite important that this industry reaches its full potential. Obviously, COVID has impacted negatively on this industry, and those are just some of the numbers. I mean, some of the companies in this industry have told us, 85% of those companies say revenues were down 100% from a year ago. That was when they compare their 2020 and 2019 numbers. 58% of those companies were unable to make their loan repayments where they had sourced credit to expand and improve on their working capital. 54% of them were unable to cover their fixed costs. So you can imagine what happens. They lay off people, close establishments, and 50% of them have reduced wages for more than 50% of staff. So you can imagine those households. And in some of those households, that one person is employed in this industry is the only one that has an income. So when they lose their job, when their wages are reduced by up to 50%, the impact is on many others. There's what we call black tax, where one person takes care of 4, 5, 6 other people. And so that is something that can't be downplayed. As part of the recovery, though, that we saw is that 2021 brought about some sort of recovery post-COVID, and the contribution increased to 8.4% year on year, and the numbers reached about 195 billion rands, and that about 20,000 jobs were recovered in this industry, representing a 1.9 rise to reach almost nearly 1.1 million jobs. These are just some of the images that the team could source of places that, as we talk travel, those are places you can visit. It's about, places like the Table Mountain, and there's many more. There's beaches. You can go to safari, game drives. You can go to establishments that have activities such as quad biking, casinos, amusement parks. It depends on what tickles your fancy. If you're into heritage sites, there are a lot of those. Are museums. You can just go for sightseeing. So there are opportunities for you to travel anywhere within our 9 provinces. And those are just some examples of what you can do, as we call on you to travel local during this festive season. There are endless possibilities and endless opportunities, and as you travel, there is spending, throughout. You will have to book hotels and places to stay. You will have to visit restaurants. You'll have to eat. You'll have to pour petrol into your car, get on the road. So all of that generates economic activity, much needed economic activity. And this slide demonstrates all of those industries that benefit, the spin-off industries, and those that will be the ones that then employ people. So as you travel, the flights, the aviation industry benefits, the accommodation industry benefits, the transportation industry benefits, because you need to get to where you're going. As you travel within those towns, you need to move around, and so transportation industry benefits, conferences, facilities, and activities that are linked to that, both for business travel and for leisure travel, tend to benefit. The overall hospitality and restaurants industry will also benefit as you choose to travel locally. And so that's our call to you as proudly South African. We ask that during this festive season, you choose to spend your money for the benefit of the economy. Don't go to Diamond Walk, man. Don't buy that outfit that is made somewhere, because you're creating jobs in that economy. There's options. I've given you options in my one video of what you can buy locally, but over and above that, travel locally, visit establishments locally if you want to become part of the Proudly South African campaign and help us grow the economy during this, that we term as the second half. The first half is before COVID, where the economy was at its lowest. We are now in the second half, where we can jointly turn the economy around. Contact us, info@proudlysa.co.za. 011-327-7778 is our contact number. Help us turn this economy around. Help us, ensure that an industry like this can reach its full potential as per the numbers that I gave you. And that's my presentation. Thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of the webinar, as well as the panel discussion that I'm also really looking forward to. Thank you very much, Program Director.
Thank you so much, Eustace. Very, very much appreciated your insights. So in a nutshell, you're saying that South Africans can go to Diamond Walk and walk past, right? Do some window shopping.
Yes, please.
In fact,
yes.
People will start thinking we're picking on Diamond Walk because we did a Newsroom Africa interview just 2 days ago talking about the local fashion police a campaign. And I did say the catch with the competition winners is that we are not giving them money into their own bank accounts,
Mm.
because the chances are they will withdraw the money and go to Diamond Walk.
Mhm.
That's the word I use. So just now they'll start thinking we're picking on Diamond Walk.
Yes.
And I said, and they'll go to Diamond Walk and buy literally one belt for
Mm.
20,000 rand, and we can't afford that because it goes against what we're trying to achieve as a campaign. So thank you so much for setting a tone and for taking us through and explaining how we fit into this, what I call a jigsaw puzzle from a hospitality perspective. The dialogue and the that we're about to have, promises to be lit and quite interesting, because South Africans in general, we all love to travel. It's time to take a break. It's silly season, we call it. Some of us are looking forward to taking a bit of a break. The misconception out there for many South Africans is that you've got to be very rich to be able to travel. Because in many people's minds is that when you travel, literally get onto a plane and go to Dubai or go to Europe or whatever the case may be, where domestic travel is completely forgotten about, if you like, disregarded, or it's not good enough in other people's views. Listen, if you can afford to go to the United States or wherever the case may be, by all means, we must not, our view must not be misunderstood, but we are saying for many South Africans, there is an opportunity to travel locally and enjoy our country, but also just contribute to that value chain behind the scenes, because the more we travel, the more we keep people employed in their respective jobs. So for this part of the session, I'm going to request that all the speakers do exactly what you've done, Lawrence. You're the leader of the pack. Your cameras on. So I'm going to request that we all put our cameras on, please, because it's literally a dialogue, a discussion, where I want on screen as a facilitator to create a look and feel and a tone and manner of who the colleagues are on screen. And I'm going to introduce you as per the program that I have. And when I do introduce your name, I'd like you to please then switch on your camera for the second part of the discussion. So we do have, like I said earlier on, a friend of the campaign, Ms. Candy Tothill. She is GM Corporate Affairs and Head of Marketing Brands, PR and comms from Southern Sun. And just to also mention that Southern Sun is a proudly South African member. Have had a working relationship with them for about maybe 5 years now, if not slightly more. But it's always good to be working with you, particularly after that 2-year lull where we were all in trouble, and hospitality without fail was in bigger trouble. So welcome, Candy. Great to have you as part of this platform. I'm hoping that because I did see, I know Candy's here. Her camera was on earlier on, so she will be on. And then also welcome Lawrence Moore, who is International Hotel Group Manager, Profit Room. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining us this morning, Lawrence, and we look forward to hearing from you. Fantastic. All right. May I also now request that Mashutu Moketi, Hub Head South Africa from South African Tourism, to also switch on her camera and join us.
There she is.
There we go. I was about to send a search party because I was getting worried that it's either technology is messing with us or what is going on. Great to see you, Mashutu. Thank you so much. And I'm hoping I'm not butchering your name. Educate me very fast if I am.
No, you did very well.
All right, fantastic. Thank you so much. Welcome. And you are Hub Head South Africa from South African Tourism. We also have online Comet Mutimela, who's Director from Touch, Let's Go Travel and Tourism Agency, who is also a proudly South African member. Comet, welcome and thank you for joining us this morning. And last but not least, we have Toby Rose Mtembu from Travel and Lifestyle. Well, she is a travel and lifestyle blogger. She has all the stories, about the world of tourism from a blogger perspective. Looking forward to that. PR and IT team, just so you know that I do not have everybody on screen. I do not know if it's a technicality on our side, or some of us may be dealing with our friend load shedding. So you may be wanting to keep your cameras off for those reasons. But may I at least ask you to unmute and say hello so we know you're here. And that is, there we go. That's Candy.
I'm not sure if you can see me, but I've been on camera the whole time.
We see you now.
Hi,
yes, you are on camera. Fantastic. Hello, Candy. Hello, thank you so much. And Mashudu? Mashudu is here, don't worry. Mashudu, I saw comment and Tobeka.
Hi guys, I'm here.
Hello, hi, there we go. Hello, hi, lovely to meet you. And there we go.
Oh, yeah.
Good, yeah. Great to see you again. We've been in a couple of. You're one of our members. Comet, obviously, fantastic to see you. So let's do this thing. So Candy, I'm gonna start with you. Candy from Southern Sun. You know, we all know that it was almost 3 years, if you like, of. I think we all still need therapy from that first family meeting from the president, where he said to us, stay at home, don't move, do not go anywhere. But also in hindsight, and truth be told, is that when that first meeting happened, we all thought, finally, we need a break. Let me just take a 1 month break from work. That'll be great, just to shut down a little bit. But when we were told 2 months later and 3 months later to still stay home, it wasn't funny anymore, right? Then we knew we were in trouble. So, a lot of businesses in the hospitality sector has been affected. But it's good to know. I mean, many of you have had to let people go, whether it's you, Comet, as a business, as a travel agent and a business owner, or whether it's a big group like Southern Sun, or your perspective, Tobeka, Lawrence, all of you. So Candy, I mean, as a member, we've seen the journey where at some point people were let go and then some of the hotels reopened slowly. In fact, last week we were at one of your hotels, your iconic hotel in Rosebank. It was great to see that hotel celebrate 25 years. It was such a beautiful feeling to see the hotel packed with stakeholders, with visitors. You even invited hotel guests to just come in and sing happy birthday, which was fantastic. But also last week we traveled to Mount Grace as a company to go and do a stretch session there, and just to see the work, people working, things functioning and all of that. What are your opening remarks regarding where you are now, Candy, as a group, as opposed to where you were 2-3 years ago?
Thanks, Happy, and thank you very much for inviting us to participate in the panel. It's lovely to be here, and welcome to all your audience and your viewers. And fellow panelists. The last 3 years, and I'm sure that most of us being in the similar industry will appreciate and agree that our industry has been through a serious period of time. It's been extremely traumatic. And as you said, we started lockdown end of March 2020, thinking it was going to be a sprint. We didn't realize at that time that it was going to be a very, very long journey. And we still find ourselves in a space of emerging sort of through this recovery period. And it's a funny space to find yourself in, because now that we're open and people are traveling and we no longer need masks, and we've managed to survive what I'm hoping, touch wood, the worst of it. You do find yourself partly wanting to go back and recreate what you remember life looking like and work and the hotels being like. But the interesting thing is that as you go along, what you discover is that the landscape may look similar, but everything is different. So on the one hand, there's a bit of nostalgia involved, and especially this year as we approach the festive season, as a company and as the hospitality industry, we're a bit apprehensive because of what happened last year. Because I don't know if you remember, but last year, just as we thought we had a sort of an open road ahead of us, we got to the end of November and Omicron hit South Africa. So our hopes for the December period were dashed. This year certainly appears to have been a completely different experience. And as I say, we are cautiously optimistic that heading into December, you can't see around the corner, but heading into that period, that we're going to return to that vibrant December holiday experience that we love to deliver to our customers. But it is a sobering time to be in this industry, because we've all been through a lot of trauma. It's wonderful to still be here. It's wonderful to have managed to come through it, to preserve the majority of our workforce, to have closed 113 hotels in a short space of, I think it was 10 days. We had to shut everything down at the end of March in 2020, and to have all of our hotels open and operating at full capacity again is really, a reason to celebrate, I feel, and to be proudly South African at the same time. So, yeah, thank you for that. I think you're on mute, Happy.
Yes, I am. Candy, I mean, to have to close 113 hotels.
Yeah.
Which translates to thousands of households, meaning for a good number of months, a lot of people were not getting salaries, households were, I mean, it's tragic. For me, that thought on its own, it's a tragedy.
Yeah.
Because, the uncertain, being uncertain, not being able to take care of, a household. Many of us are dealing with black taxes where we literally have to support 10 more people behind the scenes because they are not working. It's a tragedy, really, on its own. So I can't imagine, but with the pun intended, by the way, with a bit of a happy ending, in the sense that, you are able to reopen, or able to employ, whether it's a group of people who had been put on hold when you had to shut down, or whether you had to start the process again, or it's a combination of both. It doesn't really matter. What matters is the fact that, people were employed again. The jobs were back at some point. So as cruel as COVID was, ultimately we are here now, and you are navigating. And I just want to put it out to the universe. We're in the middle of we almost in the middle of November. We look good. We look like we won't have a festive season. Please touch wood. Everybody, wherever you're seated, touch wood. We must have this festive season, whatever it takes.
Oh, yes.
Yes, we must just have it. So with that said, I want to bring you into the conversation, Lawrence, and the focus for you that I would like you to look into rather is driving business growth and an after-sale service in South Africa on various online booking forms. I would imagine that, COVID forced us into a space or a reality that we were not, familiar with. I mean, we knew digital, we knew online, it was part of life, but at some point, that's all there was for us to navigate, way of doing business and just to live. And now that we are, beyond that, it's still a big part of our lives, right? And Lawrence, there we go.
Yeah, thanks, Happy. Yeah, I think for a lot of people, and for a lot of hotel operators certainly, any long-term strategy kind of went out of the window when COVID hit, and short-term survival certainly took precedent. And I suppose the operators that have been around a longer time, that have been through perhaps recessions before and downturns in the economy, probably were a little bit better prepared, I suppose, more of an action plan in terms of understanding what they needed to do. But then, of course, nobody would have foresawn that, of course, businesses would have been closed down for 3, 6, 9 months, and as Candy said, reopening last year only for December, the festive period, which is really where you'd have expected, to certainly have recovered some sort of growth and revenue. For that to have been taken away was quite cruel in that respect. So I think certainly nobody could have predicted that. And I think for the market to a certain degree, and for hotel operators, things have changed. I think a lot of our clients, we entered the marketplace in 2021. So we've been for the hotel partners that we have in South Africa, and we operate globally, of course. But for the hotel operators that have put profit room in, we've been part of that recovery plan. And I think certainly some of our hotel partners have been quite forward thinking in that respect of recognizing a need to drive more direct revenue. When actually it was interesting, the presentation before, when you talk about eat local and stay local, also book direct. Book direct with your within your local market, because actually part of what we do is to facilitate that. So so I think there's been a recognition from hotel operators within South Africa that they need to change what they're doing slightly, and I think that's not a local thing, that's global. But certainly within South Africa, there has been a real engagement with certainly the services that we offer, because there's an understanding that you need to drive direct revenue, but you also need to build your local database. You need to be more sophisticated, perhaps, with how you're putting together marketing campaigns, to how you build that database. And that's the great thing about working within South Africa is that it's a very, although we're kind of doing this remotely, it's a very, very face-to-face market. It's very reputational. So a lot of our interactions with the market are done because we're introduced by some of our hotel partners. So from that respect, yes. And of course, the largest part in terms of kind of helping businesses grow, because direct is, of course, it's a less expensive form of we may look like an outside global company coming into South Africa, but we're not. We're actually offering a local solution, so clients and hoteliers can actually offer a better journey, and for those clients that may book on OTAs at sometimes at quite an expensive commission rate, to bring those commission levels down. So profitability is key. As businesses recover, we've all got to there's on the presentation here, there's talk about debt repayments not being made, and it's serious. Companies have to now recognize that we're out of this period of time, but there is some recovery to do. So yes, booking direct, building, engaging your local market, and building a direct database is really key. And of course, yes, having more people book direct, makes those businesses a little bit more profitable. They can refurbish, they can expand. There's more investment they can put into the local market. So it's all cyclical. But yeah, we've seen certainly a big change in kind of how companies, particularly in South Africa, are approaching their direct strategy.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Lawrence. Your insights are very, very much appreciated. It actually forces you to, make sense of the thought process from different facets of what we're talking about today. I mean, this kind of, I call it an indaba. This needs an indaba, and not just a talk shop kind of indaba, like a proper plan of how we're going to, the kind of words you were using earlier on, Lawrence, to revive the economy, and which is sits very much in the plan of the president. But we all know that reviving the economy and the economy, which was already in trouble, by the way, even shortly before the pandemic. We had been downgraded. We know it's not a surprise. We're already going through some sort of instability, and COVID was just came to give us, when you get two slaps on your face at the same time, you don't know which one to focus on first. It's really, really great. I'm also glad that you mentioned, the fact that you saw in the video, rather, where we talk about, in fact, for the festive season, we intensify our efforts as proudly South African. And for many of our members, that's a benefit, if you like. So you will see very soon on all the channels, by way of L boards and messaging, where it's our campaign, Living Like a Locally. And in there, it says we're local. It says travel local. It says drive local, because we're showcasing cars that are assembled locally. We're showcasing the hotels locally. So travel local, we're local, listen to local content, because it's a whole industry on its own, creative arts. Watch local content on television using a locally manufactured flat screen in South Africa. There's a link to all of it, so you'll soon be seeing it on television, where we talk and travel, eat local. One would argue, you've got to eat anywhere. We know that, but we are asking for you to prioritize on local eateries and establishments and all of that. So that's our contribution to all of this. So Mashoto. Every now and then on different radio stations, your colleagues are out there talking short left. I see the short left push is back, right? Reminding South Africans to travel locally. Whether you go to a big deal hotel or whether it's a lodge or whatever the case may be, ultimately those are jobs. What are you saying as Tourism SA? What are you saying to South Africans during this time in particular?
Thank you so much, Happy, and thank you so much for inviting me. First I want to just start this by saying, when March hits, it makes me feel like, my daughter and I play Monopoly every weekend. So it made me feel like, go to jail, go directly to jail, and do not collect 200 at the beginning. That's literally how we all felt internally as an organization, that, we got stuck because we were sitting at, what do we say to people? What do we do? As a person who actually is in charge of the Short Left campaign, we are going out currently with our summer campaign. So I'm glad that you've seen quite a lot of our campaigns. And the reason for that is that when, we didn't collect 200 at the beginning, we had to then shut down every single communication, because funding had to then be transferred to assisting businesses in recovery. So businesses were going through quite a lot. So we then, all the marketing budget that we had to then transfer it. When luckily at some point we were then able to travel locally, and we were at least allowed to dip our toes into another province, get into Northwest a little there when you're in Gauteng, and at least see other people, other children. That's when then the Short Left campaign actually slowly started coming back. And that was I think it happened when we started actually promoting again. It was around Easter in 2021. That's when we then did a massive push to make sure that we then are saying, guys, let's go out there. Now we're in a very good space because events are open, and we know that events are very, very huge when it comes to people traveling in South Africa. So what we are pushing and what we are saying to people is, when you are going to your event, there are other things that you can do within South Africa. So you are now going to, I'm going to mention the Kaizer Chiefs and Pirates game that happened. I have to, I'm a Kaizer Chiefs fan. If Pirates had won, I would not mention it. But when you are going to something along those lines, we are partnering with a number of people just to assist us in showcasing to South Africans that if you're going to travel to, Polokwane for a massive game, or you're going to actually, go to the rugby. I mean, the last time the rugby was in Polokwane, we couldn't find any accommodation at all in that time. So events are quite huge. And we're saying, yes, travel for events, but while you're there, experience the place. Don't sit around and just go to the event and sleep in your car. Experience the place, see the different activities. You're already there, so you might as well actually enjoy the areas. The other thing that we've seen, it is wedding season. So it being wedding season, everybody's traveling to different places for weddings. And now we've seen a drive, back in my time, and I say this like I'm 70 years old, but back in that, a long time ago, it was, we went to a wedding, you slept at, the neighbor's house because, your family would have organized all the neighbors on that street to give accommodation. But people are not doing that anymore. People are like, but there's B&Bs now, there's different types of accommodations, there's hotels, there's everything all around. So you've got a variety of places to sleep. And we're also adding to that when you're there, why don't you also, it's your first time in PE. What are you going to do when you're in PE? You're not coming back to PE anytime soon. So you're coming to see your cousin get married, and you're already there for the weekend. What do? Enjoy it. Stay at the hotels nearby or a B&B nearby and enjoy your stay there. So that is what we're pushing. Our summer campaign has gone live. It is Give Me Some of That Short Left. And we are basically having fun with it, because what we want is for South Africans to realize how fun travel is. And one of the other things that I want to also emphasize is that when borders were closed, can I just be the selfish girl who was like, hey, stay closed for a little bit longer so that people don't leave the country, they just travel and take a short lift. So we experienced people then actually wanting to come out and experience short lift. And I think, Candy, you mentioned it, we're all sitting like this, that come rain or sunshine, December, we all want to go out there and enjoy. We have seen a lot of inquiries on our shortlift.co.za, where people are literally looking to go out for festive season, and they are looking for accommodation that's going to obviously suit them as a family, or those varsity people and their group of friends, but them as a family. So the things that people are looking at is what can the kids do so that they don't bother me. And I know Lawrence and Candy and comment on this note, I'm speaking to the converted, you're looking at me like, yeah, no, we know that, So we've had an influx of people on our site because of the fact that it's summer now. We can do events, we can go to some beaches, and we can have fun. So that's what we're saying. Go out there, have fun, give me some of that short lift.
It all sounds just so amazing, and yes, we do see your short lift marketing efforts on socials, and we know it's back. And in fact, it took me to a thought. I mean, the 1 year we were told not to go to, and people had traveled to the coastline and all of that, and then we were told you can't go to the beach between Christmas and people lost their minds. I mean, I mean, it was just because, you know, you travel from Joburg, right? For some of us who are not fortunate enough to be seeing the ocean on a daily basis, for that in particular, and trying to control that crowd was a mammoth task that must never ever happen again in this lifetime. But let me tell you this, you know, while I have you on the line, Mashutu, is that you said in your opening line that every now and then you play Monopoly with your daughter. Let me tell you this, you're a smart girl. Unlike some of us who think we can play 30 seconds with our children and then they expose us. Don't play that game with any child.
I would not
Monopoly is still safe. You know, in fact, for those of us who are online and you are a guest and you're listening to this, here's a business idea. Can somebody come up with a game that is strictly local that can keep us entertained? The likes of Monopoly, the likes of 30 seconds, but strictly local. I mean, we have stories for days. South Africa has stories for days, whether it's about travel, whether it's about music, whether it's by anything. There's a business idea. So don't say you came to this discussion and there was no bright spark moment. Might not be for many of you, but it could be for somebody, you know. And also when you mentioned that Kaizer Chiefs and Pirates situation, all of a sudden Comet was back online. His camera was off the whole time. But when you mentioned that, he was on screen. So it's your chance now, Comet. It's your chance now. So, she clearly, Mashutu clearly touched you in your studio, like the, you know, that local. And so what I want to find out from you is that, have you seen a shift and a change, Comet? Because at some point you couldn't go on take any group of people to a tour anywhere. You couldn't do anything, and your business was highly affected. And as a travel agent, business owner, have you seen a shift? And do you feel for this festive season you are being kept on your toes? Competition is tight, and you're busy, and you're back at work. Your take?
Thank you very much, Ms. Ngidi. Thank you, everybody who's on the platform. It's good to see everybody. At least I know a few faces here on the platform. It's good to see you guys. Mashutu is quite good to see you, Ms. Ngidi. Yes, I'm speaking to you right now. I'm in Durban. I'm on a short left. I've got a group of people who came to Durban for a short left. They are a social club of ladies. They call themselves Ditaka because of the born in 1970s of all of them. So yeah, they're here to have fun. So I took a break out of everything else to just be part of this particular engagement that is taking place now. So short left is my life. So actually I've given somebody to do the ground handling for as long as I'm still on the platform, you know. So I can tell you that things have actually eased up a little bit, you know, because of this thing that now I'm doing today. During COVID, I could not travel, I could not do anything, you know what I mean? So to be quite frank, there is a lot of change that has happened, you know, at the current moment. By the way, I'm a national tour operator, as I've said, but my priority in selling a product, I sell Northern Cape, you know, the province of First, you know, the city of First, the place that is less visited because of most of the people, they don't know, you know, what we offer there in the Northern Cape. Just last week, just to add on what we just said, Ms. Ngidi, I was attending a conference on intra-trade for the South African township and village tourism. So basically the shift, there were a lot of engagement during the COVID, and then to say, look, it made us realize that we have forgotten our very own neighborhood, our very own areas. You know, we are focusing only on the cities and things like that. So through all of this engagement, then this organization that focuses on township and villages emerged, you know. So I'm referring to what we just alluded now in terms of saying, can somebody come up with the games that are focused on local? I can tell you now, we've got a whole lot of those. Those are the things that we were discussing when we were at the conference. Guys, we are busy doing this and that, and then we have forgotten our very own. We used to play the diketo. We used to play. We've got so many games that you can think about, you know, tennis and all of that. And that's a local products. That's a local things that when people come over and they visit, we can be able to package it and sell it to them because of it's a unique experience. It's unlike like you just mentioned now, your 30 seconds and whatnot, which is something that is very old and very foreign, you know. So in that case, trust you me, there are many developments that are taking place. The focus now is on the township, you know, the homestays, which, you know, homestay is quite a nice thing because now you get to engage with the communities because now it's a totally different package that, you know, you try to understand their life because people are living with a lot within them, you know. So a tourism that does not touch a community to a certain degree, it does not leave anything behind. It just goes and then they go back. So we are trying to come together with packages that focuses on our township, you know, and the villages, like I've said now, because there are so many things that are taking place. And also in answering you, there is a lot of difference in terms of what used to happen previously and what is happening now during the COVID, you know. There are a lot of changes. Trust you me, I'm thinking I'll be traveling quite a lot recently because of there are bookings. I'll be lying to you when I say there's not. There are bookings that are coming through, which gives us, you know, a little bit of, you know, a space to actually to breathe because of tourism to us is not a side hustle. It's a lifestyle. We live it, you know, it's a daily thing that we do for a living. So during COVID, you can understand what one was going through, particularly as an SME who is based in the township. So clearly it was very hard. So things are different now. There are a lot of things that I can tell you about. To go see, I was in Limpopo. I've experienced Limpopo. I'm currently now in Durban. I'm experiencing Durban. I've experienced Durban previously. And then there are very much changes that are taking place, things that we have learned from COVID into how then you have to do business, how to sell your products, you know, just, you know, to avoid things that happened previously. So there is some sort of your turnaround strategy in terms of, look, how then can we go forward? How then can we do business? You know, your virtual tours, it's something that is coming into place. There are quite a number of, you know, options that are there, like your villages. Now let's go to villages, which is less stressed in terms of your health and environmental issues. We understand because of the sun and the environment is very conducive in terms of health-wise, because of something that we have to consider during COVID. The cities is polluted with a whole lot of, not that maybe I'm selling our cities in South Africa, but now
but it's okay to sell your city as well. And I'm going to come in there, COVID. Don't be apologetic because your city is part of the ecosystem of what we're talking about. But I'm gonna request that I stop you there because there's still more I want to talk to you about. But I just also want to say, you know, the likes of Comet have got soft lives, nice problems. He's coming to us live from his hotel room in Durban, you know, just to throw it in there. But which is amazing that you are there, you know, taking a group of ladies who you've just exposed, by the way, just in moderation, that a group of ladies in a certain age group who've taken a shot.
Themselves, actually.
Oh, it was not you. Okay.
They've got the t-shirts written the tag 1970. So everybody's there to see, you know what I mean? Because they're not even shying away in terms of that, you know?
Yeah, of course not. Okay, great stuff. So before I bring Candy in, and I wanted to touch on what makes you stay relevant. I'm going to come back to you about that, Candy, while you're applying your mind about that, because we know, you know, the economy is out. There's many groups, there's many hotels, there's many options. What is the one thing that is keeping Southern Sun, you know, relevant, and what are the kind of things you're doing? But I want to talk to our blogger, Thobeka. Thobeka, you're the lady with the pen, and so we should give you a bit of attention. Tell us what you want us to know. You know, what are your observations? What is going on out there with the hospitality industry? And we'll be looking for, look, I'm not trying to control your thought process, but good stories. You know, is there a shift? Is there a change? We've been unhappy for quite some time.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for the platform. If you guys don't know, my name is Thobeka Mthembu. I'm a travel and lifestyle content creator. I work lots with different stakeholders in the travel industry. I have worked with Shortlist, with Meet South Africa. I've worked with George Tourism. I've worked with KZN Tourism. I've recently worked with a platform called Journey, which is all about local experiences and local accommodations. And that's what I do. I guess I am, the in-between of the, stakeholder and the people on the ground. I started traveling at a very young age just to share a positive story of why I am who I am and why I do what I do. My dad, when he married my mom, they met in Mpumalanga. They are not from Mpumalanga, by the way. So they met while traveling themselves. And they met in Mpumalanga, and, we then lived in KZN after that. We then started traveling at a very young age. I still remember the first trip I took to Cape Town, where we actually drove. I remember feeling as if I was in another country. It was super cold. I was wearing a bomber jacket, and we were at the aquarium and obviously doing all the amazing things that you can do in Cape Town. But for me, that is exactly where the seed started. That is exactly why I love to travel. And it is exactly why I keep telling positive stories around local tourism, local experiences, and knowing that there is something for everyone. And for me, I've seen a huge shift, especially in the so-called youth, urban industry, the Black market. They are wanting to go outside. They are wanting to not just spend their money at Diamond Walk or just spend their money in the club with a bottle. They are now realizing that experiences are more of a experience for them, versus the other two that I spoke about now. I remember the first trip I took down, I did a trip to Knysna. This was just as it opened up. And I was in the car with the general manager of one of the big hotels, boutique hotels, on Tesson Island. And the first thing he told me is that he's already seen a shift, that the people who are now booking are Black, are 30 up, and they're filling up these hotels, and what does that tell you, right? We now need to shift how we communicate. We now have to shift how we see travel. And that's why for me, when I entered the space I was born in the space, but when I wanted to do this full time, the biggest thing I wanted to do was to change the face of travel, was to change how we see travel, was to showcase that travel is not just for the elite. It's not just for those coming in from Germany. It's not just for those coming from Italy. It's ours too, right? This is our country. We deserve to enjoy it. We deserve to tell our stories. We deserve to be on that wine estate. We deserve to go showcase our grandmother's homes. We deserve to speak our languages. We deserve to eat inyama yangaphakathi around the fire and tell stories about who we are. And that's the beauty of South Africa for me. And I do that intentionally. It has never been something I've shied away from. And I think that there's a huge gap that a lot of people have started to fall in terms of the digital landscape, and saying, how do we use people who do this practically, who share great stories, who share informative content, not just beautiful content, but informative content. Because what we are lacking is information. There are countless times that people are DMing me. Hi, Toby, how do you travel from Joburg to Durban? Hi, Toby, how much is, an experience in the Northwest? Whatever it is, people want info. They are craving information. But they're not just craving it from the big stakeholders. They want it from us. They want it from the guys that tell stories, from the people that they follow, because it's an instant gratification for them. And so for me, it has been amazing seeing that shift. It's been exciting seeing that shift. It's also been exciting seeing people wanting to come back home and showcasing the stories of home. And I think that's where ShotLab comes in. That's where Proudly South Africa comes in. And that's where the digital landscape comes in. And so it's been exciting for me to be a part of the stories, the PR, the marketing, and the reshifting and reimagining of what tourism looks like in South Africa, especially at a local level.
Just a quick question, Toby. Is our travel offerings overly priced or affordable, or is that just a myth?
I think it's such a myth. So as I said, it's education. It's such a myth. I've just come from a trip now to Mpumalanga, Marloth Park. So reshopping. If Toby does not have the money to pay to stay in the Kruger National Park, there are other options. So she can stay in Marloth Park. It's a 5-minute drive from Marloth Park to Crocodile Bridge, where you can go and do a drive with your family. It is way more affordable. So it's showing people that there is something for everyone. I can go to Mpumalanga and spend 5,000 Rand. You can go to Mpumalanga and spend 10,000 Rand. It is all about the different packages, the different offerings, the different educational points, but it is also how do people find that, right? So it's showing people that you can go onto the short-lived website, and there are experiences there that you can look at. You can book. You can go to Proudly South Africa. You can go to Toby's page. You can go to journey.travel. So that is for me a myth. There are ways that we can travel. Travel isn't just about getting onto a plane. We can drive. We can take a taxi. We can take a bus. We can take a train. There are so many options. And I think being able to tell those stories and showcase that travel is not just for the elite, in inverted commas. It's for everyone. And there is something for everyone. But also sharing specials. People don't know that when you're booking directly at a hotel or a lodge or a B&B or a guest house, you can tell them you're South African. You can ask and say, are there any specials available at the present time? I am traveling with a group of friends or a family or with my partner. And then you will be able to get, that pack, especially game lodges. People always think they're super expensive, but they are actual local prices for South Africans that people don't know. But because we are marketing it on Instagram, on Facebook, and we're marketing it to the international market, then it's hard for South Africans to feel seen. It's hard for us to see, can I go here? Can I not? And so for me, it is a myth. There is a possibility for us to all travel.
Do not let anybody fool you. Toby has told us that it is a myth, and I saw Mashoto nod quite a bit, and I think you also did, Candy, that there's packages and affordability for anybody depending on your pocket, which speaks to this whole myth, generally from South Africans who say local products are way too expensive or they're inferior. We all have it depends on your pocket, right? You can't want to go buy a Bentley with the budget for a let me not pick on a local brand, because just now I'll get a call. But any other local car that is made in South Africa that is a lot more cheaper than a Bentley is the point I'm trying to make. So Katie, I'm going to ask you this, and after that, can we just keep it free flowing as we go towards the end of our discussion? Free flowing in the sense that in Candy's response, there might be something that Lawrence you would like to pick up from that, and you might want to come in Mashoto, you might want to come in Comet, and all of that, and just have that kind of discussion. So Candy, how are you as a group of hotels reinventing yourself? Because I don't think any business, especially hospitality, can afford to have a sense of comfort and say, because we are known and we are a local brand that stood the test of time, we good. You've got to keep yourself relevant and all of this, your offerings and all of that.
Yeah. Well, reinventing, I suppose it's an interesting thing, because I think most businesses operating in this industry will not have had an option to stay the way they were. They had to change. So business has had to be reimagined. We have certainly reimagined ourselves, but what we've actually done is at the end of April this year, we announced that we were returning to our former name, which as a group, which was Southern Sun. And in an effort to in some ways to leave the trauma of the last 2.5 years behind us, we went back to our origins and we said, who were we once upon a time that made people fall in love with this company? And what is it that has really encouraged our customers and our guests and the consumers and partners and suppliers and employees? What is the essence that ran in through this business that has encouraged people to remain loyal to us? Mm-hmm. So we did quite a lot of reflection. And this change of name for the group, although our actual brands have remained as they were, the return to Southern Sun is almost a return to our origins, but at the same time giving a whole fresh, excited new take on the company, but without forgetting where we came from. Now, from a relevance point of view, what people experience when they stay with us, we've also had a good hard look at that. And we've said, well, what do people go to a hotel for? Take away all the noise, and the marketing speak. And what is a guest walking through our doors really paying for? So we've really drilled it down to the essence of what a person wants to experience when they walk into a hotel. And with that, we've also embarked on an internal drive to reignite our internal values with our staff, because a hotel staff are ultimately what differentiate one hotel from another in the sense of the service that you receive. So it is our view that every guest, no matter how many guests we welcome, must feel like the most important guest on every day. And that cannot, we will not rest on that. So that's one set of kind of internal reflection that we did as an organization. But then from a responsiveness and remaining relevant in the market to our guests and responding to what the guests are actually wanting, what does the market want from us? From a domestic leisure point of view, we've got our summer campaign, which we actually launched, I think it was mid-October. But we went out to market with that, saying for the very first time, only frequent guests, which is our loyalty program, which is 99% comprised of South Africans who are members of our frequent guest loyalty program. While we put out this very special offer for 3 days, you need to be a frequent guest in order to receive this special offer. So that was something we did specifically for the domestic market, and specifically to recognize the brand loyalty that we've received over this very difficult period for all of us in the country. So we've now opened that a version of that campaign up to the public. You don't have to be a frequent guest to enjoy the special offer. It is available for holidays throughout South Africa from 1 December all the way through to 31 January. It's specifically designed for families, so there's a rate per room per night, and children under 18 stay with us and eat breakfast for free. So that's kind of what we thought would appeal to the leisure market, in particular this year when everyone is very much needing to have a holiday and to have the holiday that they've been dreaming of.
Mm-hmm. Just as I was about to say to you, so you need to be a frequent guest of the hotel for you to enjoy all of these added things. I was about to say to you, there's no free lunch. Hey, Candy, then you change the tune. Then the tune changed and everybody.
Yeah, it was actually a cool thing that we did. We opened this, we don't want to call it a sale, but it was this very special offer where if you stayed with us for more than 7 nights, or you wanted to book for more than 7 nights, and you were a frequent guest member, and you went straight onto our website to make your booking between 25th and 28th of October, you got 30% off automatically.
Yeah.
So that was just a very special moment that was open for 3 days. And then once that ended, then we went into our special public campaign, which is the Sunbreak Summer Offer.
Yeah, fantastic.
So yeah, that's kind of what we've been working on to, as I said, to acknowledge our loyal customers and guests and participate in the journey of recovery of our economy.
Absolutely, and so beautiful to see that it's all encompassing, you know, it's inclusive. You've thought of everybody, those who may have and those who may not have enough
Yes.
to kind of like you say, you know, a guest walks into any of your hotels and they feel like they're the only ones. I can attest to that. In my past life, I would feel like am I the only one around here, you know, but which is a fantastic thing. It really, really is. And Lawrence or anybody comment or, you know, that, you know, taking from what Candy has said, you know, none of us can have a sense of comfort. There's quite a number of ththings that we need to do to get the attention of a consumer. Because ultimately, it's about that, right? Yeah. Please go first, Lawrence, and then comment. I do see your hand. Very disciplined participant. Yes.
I think the one thing that's been mentioned before is that is how well the local market has sustained the hotel industry within South Africa, and that is a global thing. But I think in particular in South Africa, that's been a bit of a shift. There's definitely been a change in kind of the volume of the local market, because you know, certain hotels perhaps would have enjoyed you know, quite a high percentage of international business, and in fact they then relied solely during COVID on domestic on the domestic market. So with that in mind, it's very important for our hotel partners that they talk about loyalty and loyalty programs and how they're going to improve that, what else they can offer, how we perhaps improve our systems to perhaps be a little bit more creative about loyalty programs. And it's all targeted at the local market. And it's a different market. It's not just leisure. Of course, you've got things like you know, the ex-timeshare business, which is of course something that's probably dying out in a traditional sense, where people will go and have the same holiday in the same place for 30 years at exactly the same time. People tend to want to travel around a bit more and have different experiences, and how hotel groups now facilitate that in a different way through vacation clubs. But everything the hotel partners now talk about is about the guest journey, how they engage and communicate with their clients better in terms of, you know, guest communications prior and post stay, and how they engage with them, and how they add value. So no, it's a key part of it. Loyalty is, I suppose, probably the hottest topic that we have with our hotel partners, and it's, you know, let's face it, that's not focused on the international market. That's all about local. That's all about the local market and how they encourage guests that may have tried them for the first time to perhaps try different properties at different locations. I mean, we are creatures of habit. We do like to tend to have the same holidays, don't we? We tend to sort of we find a hotel that we like, and we go back there year after year, and you know, but we are certainly more open to trying that. So yes, loyalty is a key part of that. But that's certainly something, you know, within the South African market that we're finding that hotels are certainly investing in and putting a great deal more effort into.
Fantastic. And thanks a lot, Lawrence. Comment, your parting shot.
Thank you very much. I just wanted to add on. You are asking how then do we come back from the situation that previously, you know, how do we make things better going forward in terms of making sure that the business goes on. Now, as I've indicated, we've been through a lot of engagement, during COVID in terms of, I understand you are saying internal, turnaround strategy, probably that's what you were asking earlier on. But necessarily with us, it's not necessarily internally because of, look, tourism, you can't do it alone. As a tour operator, we are a travel agent, by the way, we rely on products outside. Your accommodation, your attractions, and all of those things, they make up a package, a complete package. Now, what we have done is, it's during this period to remain, sustainable and moving forward. There were a lot of collaboration efforts that were touted during all this engagement that we've been through, because of it is an element of sharing the risk. And it's much more better, to say, look, how about we collaborate on a particular platform and then we do this and that? Like, you are a host, you've got an establishment, I'm a tour operator, I've got guests coming over to you, and then how best can we make their travel, everlasting and things. So a lot of collaboration efforts have come through. So that's how basically things are, how we are moving forward. Because of, in my absence, I would know that Ms. Ngidi is there to assist. And one other thing is encouragement on establishing your own. Remember, I'm a tour operator, I don't rely on anything. If Ms. Ngidi says tomorrow establishment is closing and then I need to go there, that means I don't have business. So you're more reliant, much more into, also your suppliers in this case, which is not business worthy. Because of, remember, when all of these things closes, then what's going to happen to you? Because now you rely on this to produce a pack. So we are encouraged to formulate our own products, meaning come up with a bicycle tour initiative, maybe for a township, because even if you are closed, I know that I can host people, can do the township tour, or they can do the quads bike, just anything that could be interesting, storytelling, platforms and things like that. So that is one other thing that is coming, in full effect, to say, look, as much as I'm a tour operator, I have to establish something that, if business is not working right, and then somebody can come by into my business and then it's business as usual. So I just wanted to add on that element to say, look, that's basically that we have done in order to remain in the business, to say, look, formulate a lot of collaboration, with other product owners to make sure that we remain sustainable in the business. But otherwise, I would like to encourage everybody to take a short left to the Northern Cape, a place, with a unique product. So please come over to the Northern Cape and make sure that, you go to your Grabis Falls, which is now, showcasing some marvelous falls. And then you can come over to the SK area, the square kilometer area in Carnarvon. It's a very nice one. You've got communities, the Kung and the Kwe community. I told you earlier on that we are about the community. So this is the festive, this is the time to go out and have fun. And Northern Cape should be one of those, a destination that you should tick a box to make sure that we have come experienced as Kalahari, the Kwe lifestyle and the hunting and things. So there is a lot, that you can do. You can check us on our own platforms, and then you'll see all of these packages available on Instagram and WhatsApp and Facebook. So yeah, that is that I wanted to indicate, Ms. Ngidi.
I would have told you for free, Comet, if you didn't take advantage of this opportunity to sell your business, to sell your province, to say, come here, do this. This is what you will. I would have told you, let's rather look at another business for you, because, and you went in. You went in just like a marketer is supposed to do. Well done. Now we know. You can't say we know how to fight. You can run, but you can't hide. Clearly,
exactly.
You haven't given us a choice, which is fantastic. Thank you so much. But please don't go off the line as yet. Toby, what is your parting shot?
Parting shot for me is, people to know that we are traveling, we want to be outside, and also to not be derailed if you are feeling like the most popular places are extremely full at the moment. Take the road less traveled, plug into different experiences. So if you are wanting to go to Mpumalanga, you don't have to just go to Graskop, you can go to Kaapstad. There are other booming areas. You don't have to just go to the same waterfalls. There are over 20 waterfalls in Mpumalanga. So plug in even to, the smaller places that do need our money and need us to support them. The same goes with, food, let us explore our local foods, our local eateries. But more than anything, as content creators, as a digital platform myself, I share generally a lot of content in terms of things to do, activities to do, places to eat, new gems that we need to visit, whether those are in the Klein Peru, whether those are in other areas of South Africa. It is super vast. We are blessed with almost every landscape, the best weather. And obviously, follow me on Instagram. I will always be there to plug you on amazing gems, amazing places to see, and small businesses that really do need us to be on board with them. It is Toby_Rose on all platforms. And yeah, guys, do get out there, take a short left. Let us plug back into our local communities and local accommodations. Thank you guys so much.
Fantastic. And yes, we are looking for plugs, and thanks for the plug. On all the stuff that you do it's fantastic, absolutely fantastic. Colleagues, before I go, we close off, I just wanted to say I've been looking at the chat box. No one is saying anything to us. No one is asking us a question. That can only mean one thing. I'm not entertaining anything else. Is that we are clear on this conversation. We are audible. We have shared as much as we possibly can. Everybody, there was no confusion. So that's my only take from it. And I've also asked PR behind the scenes to look at the socials to see what's happening. There seems to be, at times they say less is more, right? Because there could be one person who's asking a question that takes us completely to the south, and maybe that's not what we want. Because we've had such a nice chemistry with this conversation, and I do believe that we've shared quite pertinent info. Mashoto, and how do you say goodbye?
I say goodbye by saying it's your country, enjoy it, because nothing's more fun than a short lift.
Oh wow, sweet and short. Okay.
Yeah.
Are you part of a creative team of like when you produce an ad, those people with just short lines, that nothing more to say.
Look, I am perfect, and I do agree. I did a short lift with Comet. It was absolutely wonderful, and I've done work with Toby Rose. She's a great plug. So, and I know I've stayed at ISG and Southern Sun many a times in my life. So all I can say is go out there. It is your country, and it's only for you to enjoy.
Maybe it's a challenge for Proudly SA as well. And I know my boss has had to step off just to challenge Proudly South African to also go on a short lift with the likes of Comet and walk the talk. Because we generally do that. We go to local restaurants.
Yes. Yes.
Oh, there we go.
Yes.
We go to local restaurants that are members of the campaign. I've just told you we've just come back from Mount Grace, which is a Proudly South African. So we do that kind of thing, but maybe we must organize a proper short left driven kind of situation as
And what happened? What happened now?
I think she's stuck. She might just be offline.
Oh, okay, because I was wondering also. Toby, how are you? I think we met, didn't we meet? We met in Eastern Cape. I'm not too sure. We met in Eastern Cape and we did a proper nice thing. We've got that thing. I'm looking at you. I'm like, this lady, this is the traveler, the blogger, the lady that I need to work with. But now I remember now,
Yeah, I think it was me.
Yes, at the launch of Women X in Tonton with the lady. What is her name again?
No, I don't remember. Do you know how many things I travel? It's tough, comments.
I know you.
But I've definitely met you.
Yeah, no, definitely we met. Yeah, no, definitely. We must make a turn to the Northern Cape. Have you been? It's one of the things I wish I could strike a deal with you now to say, look, I mean, this is a rare travel to place. You know what I mean? I'm not too sure if you have done anything in the Northern Cape. So I was wondering if probably we can put all of those people who are into whatnot and whatnot, and make a a nice pack, to populate, short left to the Northern Cape province. You understand? Identify things, and then you can come over and I can host you and you can do magic. You know what I mean?
Awesome. Always ready.
Yeah.
You can send me an email. I'll get your details after here.
No, definitely.
Happy. It seems like she's having connectivity issues. If I may close the session, thank you so much for making the session a great success, and hoping that you can work with us again in the near future. Thank you so much, colleagues.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Bye-bye.
everyone. Bye.
See you on the next short left.